Yeah, it's been a little while since we've done one of these things. Who knows how to
What
do
is
this?
one of these things?
These things where we talk into microphones and share thoughts and ideas and ways to make the world a little bit better. One verb.
We're not going to do that today, though.
Yeah, I don't remember that part of.
We're just going to give a list of games.
Nope. So yeah,
well, that's how you make the world better. Play good games.
Play good, and then talk about them. That's You're welcome. Anyway, well, I guess this is what GameEnthus podcast episode 424. This is
sure.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 423 was the last one, so why not?
424. The reckoning. You seem a little hesitant to give it a number. You're like, I don't know.
Well, no. Honestly, I thought the outline I clicked on said 440. So when I pulled the link from it, I was very confused why this would be.
Well, no, it actually just said 404, and
Yeah.
The dyslexia is kicking in, so what's math? Oh God,
I forgot what that's called.
Yes,
but if you don't really have, we probably shouldn't joke around about it. But
no.
So 424, we're here.
Yes.
Normally do a much longer anecdote portion of the show, but in order because we're starting like an hour late.
For our 2020 Game of the Year episode.
We're an hour late, 2 months late or whatever. But Mike, anything you wanted to share really quickly, anecdote wise, before we jump right into the
as I said before we went live, I just one of the things that I contributed to as the delay of this Game of the Year thing, because we were supposed to do this 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't explain exactly what happened, and the details are sort of unimportant, but I had the worst back problem of my entire life happened on New Year's Day, and I'm still not over it 100%. I'm feeling mostly good, but so it's not like a spinal thing or a disc thing as far as I know. But terrible muscle spasms to the point where I couldn't even walk. Thank the Lord, I have a wife who was there to help me in my time of need. And she did absolutely, because if I was home alone, I don't know. I may have starved to death.
Wow.
Anyway, so
that's real. But
on the mend. But
and we're glad to hear that.
Yep.
Yes, and on a future show, I'll maybe talk about some of the things that I stared at while I was laying there with no other ability to do anything else. But no need to talk about it now. It's
gotcha.
I
mean, there's been a lot of stuff because.
Yes. Then there's that.
For those in the U.S., we originally planned on doing this on 1/6/2021, and you might know that date for other reasons.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a time. And we're glad to be back. I hope people enjoy this because it's 2 months in the making.
Excellent.
How that translates into its quality, that we can't say.
So we were, before we go into it, no, this is our games of the year, obviously our opinions, all that stuff. But we're not even doing necessarily a top 10. Only one of us has come with 10 games on their list. And that might speak to the year that was 2020. So we'll talk about it. We'll have some fun. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll go through it. I guess we should start with a category since there's 4 categories versus our lists. We'll start with a category and then someone will go through their list and category list, category list, category.
I feel like favorite old game might be the best place to start.
You are reading my mind.
Hey.
Oh.
Because I didn't want to start with disappointment.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's not.
Well, I mean, it's appropriate for 2020. That's for sure.
I also didn't want to start with most anticipated game. I mean, I guess we can start with most anticipated game, but I think favorite old game. So this is the category. I mean, we're 100% stealing this from Giant Bomb and others. Of our favorite game we played in 2020 that was released prior to January 1st, 2020. And I'm gonna let Aaron lead off with.
Oh, thanks. All right, so my favorite old game released prior to January 1st, 2020. Of course, because I cheat every year.
What list do you have?
No, it's only 3 things for a space that was supposed to have 1. All right, now this one is interesting because it's a game, but it's like really a game comprised of other games. And that is
WarioWare? Like, what is...
Hear me out.
Game collecting?
No, Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, okay.
No,
that's a good answer. That's fine. That's a good answer.
So much TTS this year for obvious reasons. So that one has to be up there. I played a ton of Tabletop Simulator. Official mods of games, prototypes, all types of stuff I played there. So and then because towards the latter portion of the year, I found a really good 3DS emulator. I've been playing a lot of Super Mario 3D Land on my PC with an Xbox One controller, and enjoying that quite a bit.
How do you like the reversal of the A, the B, the X, and the Y?
The reversal?
Well, he can map.
Yeah, I mapped it just like it would. I'd be playing on a 3DS. Or a
sure,
new
3DS. But then the letters, anytime anything ever says push A or whatever, you're actually pushing B.
I mean, it's the muscle memory we all sort of get into or fail at. We go between a Nintendo console and anything
yes,
else.
The failing does occur, but I find something just enough when I'm holding a Nintendo controller. It feels just different enough that I can say that's, in my mind, that's why I'm pushing the button to the far right as the accept instead of the button to the far bottom. Because I want to avoid the situation that Tiny's talked about where you accidentally purchase games.
I was going to say, this is when I bought Call of Duty by accident. That's just for reference.
Accident.
Yeah, that's. I don't want to accidentally spend $60 on my digital account.
I don't want to do that. No, but so far so good. Emulator works very well, so I'm enjoying that. And Tiny, this is no slight to you, given what I know was forthcoming on your list, but I threw in Among Us here. Just that's because,
it's a good game.
Even though I never heard of it before 2020,
right?
I believe it did come out prior to 2020, but because I get it. Why if people include on their list for 2020, it makes sense because it was new to a lot of us and blew up in 2020, so it makes sense for it to be there. So
and it's been a great game to play. Like,
oh, it's fantastic.
Like you were telling us, I don't know if you want to go into any detail, but I believe you were playing a family game of Among Us. Didn't you get a significant other to play?
Yeah, we somehow cajoled her into downloading it on her phone, and it's funny, like she was sort of into it, but once she was the imposter, it the claws came out, and it was fun. It's good stuff.
It's a different game depending on what your role is.
Definitely,
yeah. So that's it for me for favorite old games released prior to January 1st, 2020.
Gotcha. What about you, Mike?
I mean, I could also say Among Us for the same exact reason Aaron just described, as far as not knowing that it ever existed prior to. But honestly, I mean, it's fine, and I don't mind playing it. I enjoy playing it because I'm playing with friends. That is not a game I would ever be interested in playing with strangers, even if we were talking.
Yeah, me either.
So it's to me, it's more about the social aspect of it than the game itself. Otherwise, it's really not terribly different than the other, lying games that we've played before, like Secret Hitler, which, again, for anybody who's never heard us mention it before, that is a board game that we didn't come up with. This is not a pro-Hitler thing. Just to be
it certainly clear. Is will never.
It's actually,
that,
I mean, if you play the game, it's pretty obvious that if the fascists win, you lose. Like it's
a loss.
Yes, so
you take an L. That's for sure.
But what I think might be an appropriate answer for me now that I'm thinking back and realizing, oh yes, 2020 did stretch that far back, and so on and so on. I did play quite a lot of the original Donkey Kong in 2020, and not that I didn't enjoy it before 2020, but probably put more time into that game in 2020 than I have any other year in my life.
And this is Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy, right?
That is a good game, but no, okay. I'm just referring to playing the arcade ROM.
Wow.
And actually playing some of it on the Switch. I bought the Switch version as well. Not as much, not nearly as much, but yeah, did play quite a lot of Donkey Kong, which, as I mentioned before, was the motivating factor in me wanting to build the arcade cabinet in the first place. So, I did it.
Gotcha.
Mission accomplished.
I guess I have a picture of you playing the game with a small picture of Billy Mitchell.
Oh,
sort of taped to the upper portion of your monitor, and you looking over at him grimacing, and it pushes you to keep playing, and you get those backwards jumps and everything else.
It's just a montage.
Everybody needs motivation, Mike. It's all good.
Don't care about
let it motivate you. Did you drink hot sauce before you would play or afterwards?
I can't do hot sauce no matter what, so no.
Okay. No,
I probably consumed quite a few adult beverages while playing said game. I will say that. Okay. Tiny, what old game would you like to talk about?
We talked about this before the show, and I will preface this. I went through the games that I completed that were games that were from prior to 2020. I completed 21 games last year that would fall into this category. But I think the one I spent the most time with was the God of War 2017 release.
Oh,
on the PS4, because I got the 4K TV.
That was 2017 that came out.
I'm pretty sure God of War is 2017.
Well, no, I think it was later because Horizon was 2017, as was Zelda. I remember this because that was the.
Was it 2018 then?
I think it was 18. Okay. But either way, prior to 2020, still counts.
Yeah, it's 2018. You are right. So it's definitely prior to that. That game, I think I've put about 100 hours into it now. That game's very good. If you did not play God of War 2018, where Chris Judge took over the voice of Kratos and just kept calling his son Boy. And it's visiting Norse mythology. It's trying to get away from there are references and stuff comes up from the original. I want to call it a trilogy, even though God of War Ascension also came out.
Well, and the PSP games,
but they're their own because there's they're their own. I no, because there's only two of them. Which, by the way, I played both of the PSP games as well. I played through both Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus.
You murdered everything under the sun.
Pretty much.
So I was tempted to go back to God of War 3 just to kill Hercules Kevin Sorbo, but I did not. But no, God of War, if you want a very pretty game on your PlayStation 4/Pro/ on your PS5 now, if you have access to that because you have a PS4 Game Pass or what is that library called? I forget. Whatever it is.
PS Now?
No, the one where it has 30 or 40 PS. It's a PS4 Classics
collection, I think, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's in there. It's a great game. I enjoy the heck out of it, going through and finding the collectibles, hunting down the stupid birds.
I feel like I can't go back. I feel like if I have to start it over, I feel like I don't.
Well, so that's the thing that happened this year. I did start it over because I had played it originally and didn't get it didn't grab me, so I put it down. And for a month, I couldn't find the disc, and it turned out for some reason it was in the Final Fantasy 13 case.
Was this one of the games that you had horrible update problems with?
No, that was around this time. Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man.
I had to go to someone who was not on Verizon to be able to update that game.
That is
such a dumb thing.
Weird.
Anyway, but yeah, so God of War 2018 is my old game of the year. But there were a lot. just as you should know, and all of you should know, in perpetuity and honorable mention, Pokemon Snap was definitely on there. It just can't win every year.
Understood.
No, it can. If it's definitively so, it can. That's acceptable.
I can't.
I mean,
keep
he wanted
giving
to
it,
be the
I can't keep giving it old game of the year, even though I keep playing it over and over. But there'll be a new one on April 3rd. So
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I'm excited for me too. Who wants to go first for their list of games?
I'll go again. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, if you've got the full 10, you might as well start.
So am I doing the
start
full?
Off with,
or are we just doing 1-1-1, full 10? What am I doing?
Well, yeah, just start with 10, right? We'll work our way up.
I mean, do your list. I think doing the whole list makes sense.
Okay. All right, here goes.
We'll break in once you get to video games.
Well, I'm doing a separate show for board games, so this will be all video games here.
Okay.
The streams will not be crossed.
No.
I guess. I
don't know if these are in a particular order.
They're
I know
not.
I had them listed, but
yeah, I mean, yes, I did put them in some order, but they're just games that I played. I didn't want whatever I would say is number one. It's not really any higher than anything else. It's just These are the 10 things that I really enjoy. Okay. All right, so the first one is 10 is Sagrada, which is a digital adaptation of a board game involving stained glass windows in a church and a lot of dice, and it's a very pretty game. And I've been playing it on the Switch and playing it on mobile platforms, and I think I have it on Steam. I've had it on everything pretty much. It's a very fun game. Can be somewhat difficult at times, but it's a fun game. So that is Sagrada. Really enjoyed that one. Minecraft Dungeons. People give this game a lot of crap, and I get why, but I feel like this year my youngest two and I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, it was one of the first games where that go play party games and kind of stuff that doesn't really have any, I guess, there's no customization. Not that it was deep, but sitting there with them and helping them figure out upgrade. I have this weapon. If you upgrade this one, then you'll have a range, and I'll have a ranged attack. And
this is the sort of Diablo clone-y looking one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it.
And I mean, it's also one of the first big games for Game Pass.
Yes,
right.
It was.
That I remember. So it's a perfect storm if you really enjoyed it, and being able to play it with little risk. I can understand why people would get into it.
Yeah, and I know people were critical of it because they felt like it was sort of, there's some banality to it. It wasn't. I mean, it is no Diablo, but it was never. I guess to me, it was never going to be Diablo. I didn't expect it to be, so I was fine with the way it was.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's Minecraft Dungeons, and this is a very late addition to the list. Paper Beast for PSVR.
What is Paper Beast?
Paper Beast is made by, I think it's in the mind of the guy who made Out of This World or Another World, depending on where you are.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Eric Chahi.
Eric, yeah, it's CHAHI or CHAHI.
Yeah. Paper Beast, and I'll be full disclosure, I played this game technically in 2021, but it did come out in 2020. I played it in January.
Yeah, that's okay.
And it made
We're talking about games that were released in the calendar year.
Right.
And I got, honestly, I got a key for it whenever it came out last year. And I just kind of sat on. I played it, and it starts off with you're at
came out in March.
Wow, I had it. Wow, gee,
what was that?
I really sat on that, didn't I?
It came out in March.
Wow, I should have done something earlier.
Oh.
I have a video for it. I'll probably put it up tomorrow. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a VR game. Start off with this weird K-pop concert thing, and then you're just in the middle of a desert, whatever you are. I don't even know what I am. You just whatever view you have in the middle of a desert. There's this large mammoth, but with many more bones. It's all bones, this huge like behemoth thing made of bones. It's just in front of you. It starts walking, and you just start interacting with stuff. You can like pick up objects, pull them closer to you, push them away, pull, throw. And you just figure out these weird environmental puzzles, and it doesn't really tell you anything. You just go. And I was like, why is no one talking about this game? Like, so I was part of the problem, having never played it until January, despite having it in March. So
I figured you got hooked on it because it said paper in it, and you were like, man, maybe this is like a board game.
Or I thought you were gonna make an Office reference, but
okay. Dunder Mifflin.
There you go.
What reference am I going to make?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. So it
looks interesting. Like I'm looking at screenshots of it right now. Like I will have to look this up because I have my PSVR hooked up.
Is that a VR only game?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't know how you do that non-VR. Not that you couldn't, but the VR definitely makes it that much more appealing. What's next? Spin Rhythm XD, which is in early access on Steam.
Okay.
It's a music game where like, a music track is coming down and you use your mouse to kind of like scratch and mix. And
I remember you talking about this.
It's really dope. Like there's some licensed music in it. I don't know. It's just really smooth. I like the way, it can be tough. Like some of the levels and tracks are just like, how could anybody possibly do this? But I don't know. It's really fun. It's a nice twist on, instead of hitting the note, like, we all used to like a Guitar Hero Rock Band kind of thing. It takes that music track coming at you, but you do something a little bit different. I like that. Okay. This is another PSVR game that I played also rather recently, called Until You Fall. I did put a video up for this one. I know it's on Oculus and the Rift and a bunch of other things as well. This one, I mean, even though a lot of releases I still see are just PS4 only. Well, they'll work on the PS5 as well, but they're games that are intended to come out on the PS4. But like, you can really tell that like developers really got their heads and really have started to do some really cool things with PSVR. Not that they weren't when it first came out, but the familiarity was there. Like the one-to-one like sword fighting combat in this game is like, it's almost like Punch-Out. Remember that game in, what was it, Infinity Blade that came out on?
Oh yeah,
it's like that, but in VR. I mean, you are parrying and dodging and doing everything.
Are they gonna remove support and have it stripped from the thing like Infinity Blade?
Why did they do that? I never understood.
They didn't want to support it anymore.
They don't want to keep after the 64-bit transition for.
That was a fun game.
But like, it also looks like it has the same kind of stuff as like what Skyward Sword. How like you have to do the slashes in specific directions to break guards, or I'm looking at some stuff and and it looks so like it sounds like, and again, PSVR has evolved past just like the experience of like, oh, look at your Voltron tiger, or whatever.
Lion?
Yes, lions. Those would be the right ones. That came out early in the PSVR life cycle to like more games than just experience. There's still plenty of experiences coming out, but this looks real cool.
It's pretty legit, and I got up to a fight. It's like the first boss, but it kind of destroyed me. But it's very active. It's pretty accurate in terms of the movement. So I have no idea how it compares to the Rift version or however the version on Steam plays. But for PSVR is pretty legit, I gotta say.
Gotcha.
Next, Streets of Rage 4. Had a lot of fun with that. I felt like it kind of came out and then we talked about it, played it, and then it kind of went away. But it is a beat 'em up, so it's not something where you're gonna talk about the epic story or make you cry at the end. It's a beat 'em up. You walk to the right and punch everything in the face, so you know what to expect. But I thought they did
Years of Rage.
There you go. Well, no, I enjoyed it. So you all played Streets of Rage 4, right?
Yeah.
I wish I had played more of it. I think I played one level and then it was like, I'll get back to this.
I wish it wasn't only 2 players. Like we tried to play.
Was weird.
we tried to play it, you, me, and Ben, and
Yeah, it is 2-player
we
online.
discovered it was only 2 players. Like,
Why?
but you could have more characters. What? Okay.
Yeah, that
So
was a weird limitation for that.
Yeah.
This one, I know this has been out for a long time on PC, but I feel like it came out this year on Xbox. Well, not 2020 on Xbox.
Let's say it did. I have no idea.
Golf with your friends.
Yeah, maybe it did come out on.
It's been on PC for like
Xbox
years,
this year.
but
Yeah,
I
well,
like that
early
game.
access-y style.
Yeah, that game is a lot of fun. It could be very frustrating sometimes, but I always have a blast playing that with you guys. That's a fun game. Golf with your friends.
It is a fun game. I agree.
It's kind of a no-brainer. It's more about, you're just having a conversation with people. Like, I mean, Among Us is something we played a lot of last year too, but there are definitely portions where you're quiet because that's helps facilitate the game. Whereas Golf with your friends, we're just messing around and playing a really fun game.
And then getting frustrated when the levels become insane.
Yeah, when you can't even figure out like where to go. But I still love it. It's a fun game.
Gotcha.
I've mentioned none of the platforms either. Oh, I guess PSVR I did. Well, I guess I haven't mentioned. I said Xbox One, so there you go. Up next, new Super Lucky's Tale. I was a big fan of Super Lucky's Tale, not Lucky's Tale. Lucky's Tale was the VR game.
That's the VR.
I never even played that one. New Super Lucky. I played Super Lucky's Tale on Xbox One. Beat it, liked it, great. Then I heard they're coming out with a version where it gives you complete 360 camera control. Same game, but new controls, some other elements too. And this is like, I can turn this game on and just, I don't know. It's great. It's a fun 3D platformer. It's not a collected, like you collect stuff, but it's like reasonable. It's kind of game where I'm going through 100%ing levels, and it's just fun. And I'm really replaying a game I already played, but having the better controls really made a difference. And it was on Game Pass. I think it's on.
It was on Game Pass.
It came to Switch first, and then they moved it over to Xbox One and the PS4. Great game. If you haven't played it, play it. Like, if it's kind of thing where you just play it, you can just have something else on you're looking at and just still play it. It's still 100% levels, even though you're watching something else. It's a really fun game. Crash 4. I've put a lot of time into Crash 4 on the Xbox One as well. I like platformers, so
I was gonna say, yeah, this is heavy platformer.
Heavy platformer. So yeah. Well, remember that time we went over, what was it, like our games of the decade or whatever, the last 10 years, and like I think maybe it was on Twitter we did it, like 6
that has to be a Twitter. I was gonna say, I'm like I don't remember doing that.
6 out of the 10 years I had Mario games like my number one game. I like platformers, what can I say?
Hey, understood.
So Crash 4, I'm not I never really got into Crash like back in the day. I mean, I know Crash 1 through 3 people really liked, and then you had the Minor Mutants and all those other ones I didn't really care about. But this one, I don't know, I really like it. I like the powers and the abilities. It's a really good game. It's really fun. It's Crash. I've had to run into the screen a whole lot, and I'm not moving away from the screen.
Yeah, that's still weird.
So yeah, that was always weird. And then last is The Pedestrian, which is, imagine like the little white silhouette character on like road signs and things.
Okay.
You are that. It's a platformer, puzzle platformer. You are that character going through like the backgrounds, like these elaborate. I don't know, but like the backgrounds will be like a factory or a street, and things are happening in the background, but you're actually moving from like signs. The signs are the actual levels, and you're kind of flowing between them to make progression. It's a really fun game. I feel like the ports on consoles are coming out this year, or maybe they did late last year, but I played it on Steam in 2020, I think. I hope I'm right. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. So The Pedestrian, I played it on PC. So those are the games that I was really digging.
Okay.
In
Well,
2020.
since you did your games, what category would you like to go to? I mean, you don't necessarily need to go first on it, but I figured
maybe most anticipated, or should we say that? Should we say that for the end? I guess
it's whatever you'd like. So if that's the one you want to go with,
Yeah, whatever you want. I don't care.
most anticipated. Boom.
Okay. I'll go first on this one. And I'm gonna bring up my list so I can remember which one I said. Oh yeah, God of War Ragnarok, which is probably ambitious that'll come out this year.
A little bit.
So we'll see if it actually does or not. For a lot of reasons. But because I enjoyed God of War 2018 so much last year, I am looking forward to where the story goes. Because you have angered the Norse gods by the end of that God of War.
Just a little bit.
It is go time. And like popular Marvel characters will be showing up in theory in this next one. So I'm looking forward to that. We will see. That will most likely require me to buy a PlayStation 5 if I can ever buy one.
Yeah, by then, sure.
So I tried to get one from Amazon today. They were gone in like a minute. So
Sure.
yeah, it was a fun time. But so yeah, God of War Ragnarok. What about you, Mike?
I'm gonna cheat, and instead of okay, I could say Halo because I really don't have anything I'm really excited about that I've given any thought to for 2021. You could probably show me a whole list. Maybe I'll find something. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember being interested. I don't know. The most anticipated thing to me, more so than a game, is still the Polymega, and
Hey, that works.
As last stated, it's supposed to be next month. If that happens, I'll probably. Well, I'll just say something old and boring and stupid, and I'll eat my hat because all the other things I can come up with that I'm not actually going to do are like, well, I shouldn't probably say that. So, it's not going to come out. Like there is absolutely nothing to indicate that it's actually going to come out. They're going to release another statement within days of when they said it was going to come out, and they're like, here's the reasons why it's not, and here's what our next targeted date is.
What is the issue? People have it already, don't they? Or some iteration
beta
of
units.
it?
Nothing has gone
test
into
units,
on an assembly line yet. Like a full, we're cranking out.
What was their rationale for why it couldn't be an FPGA?
Cost.
That's a good rationale, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's already outrageously expensive for what it is. And
that's true.
Well,
every delay, I'm reconsidering whether I want my money back or not. It's preposterous.
It's also supporting some systems that, at least for like the Mister, are considered to be outside of the power range of an FPGA. So like anything past maybe very early PS1 games are like N64 is not going to ever be on the Mister.
Well, they've already. I mean, Polymega. Although they may want to, there's no indication that an N64.
But like Saturn is also in that same range.
Saturn is like the thing they're trying to hang their hat on big time.
Right. So like FPGA, the problem, like I said, the cores from Mister right now are 32-bit is going to be a very tough. 32-bit consoles are going to be very tough for them to emulate on there. But
the biggest thing is the longer it takes, the more things become available that kind of eat this thing's lunch. Right. And I still enjoy the concept of the novelty of the whole thing. But once it becomes, it would be as useful to me as, say, the Retron 5, because I'll try it a couple of times and then throw it in the closet. No, it's too expensive to just let that happen. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm still... If it actually comes out in a month, which isn't going to happen, but let's pretend it might, I will be very excited. I will absolutely be like, oh, I can't wait to plug this in and see how it feels and so on and so on. But I'm highly dubious.
Gotcha. The doubt is there.
Yeah.
So understood. And what about you, Aaron?
Um,
For your anticipated game of 2021.
it's funny. I had this game up here before. I just kind of left it. Resident Evil Village, so Resident Evil 8, I guess, if you will. I did play the demo on the PS5 a little bit earlier. It was called the Maiden demo.
Right.
It was. I mean, I think it's supposed to be a graphical showcase. It felt a lot like 7. I mean, you're in first person. I don't know if you watched the Resident Evil showcase thing they did. They talked about the multiplayer game and another movie coming to Netflix.
They're making another multiplayer?
Resident.
Yes.
The
How good?
reverse.
That's at least the third one, not counting the Outbreak games, right?
It looks.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great, but it looks like dumb fun. Like the one that
But
came
isn't
with
that what the
Resident
one-
Evil
I was
3
gonna-
didn't look
that came with
fun.
3.
That looked terrible. But I don't know. I didn't play it.
They could say they're gonna delist it the day it comes out.
That might be a good idea. You know, as you all know, Resident Evil 4 is like one of my favorite games of all time, and I wish
Really?
I wish you all would finish it because it's so good.
Well,
So-
I like it. I played it on the Wii. That's the only version I played, and I played through it, and I enjoyed it.
It's funny people talk so highly of the Wii version, and I understand why they do, but they also are forgetting like they're like more like 10 years older, 10 plus years older. I want to hold my arm up that long. The Wiimote to do that and do. I'm too old. I'm just like, in theory, yes, the control's the best. I don't want to do that though.
Put the Wiimote below the TV and just like keep it like in your lap, so like you're. Anyway.
Or just play it on a toaster because it's on everything. So Resident Evil 8 Village, whatever. Definitely, that's the one I put. I guess I'm kind of torn because when they show the Village stuff, of course, it's tugging at my RE4 heartstrings. Oh, RE4. I know it's not going to be RE4, but I'm still going to leave it there because that's the one thing I can think of I'm really excited to play. And the demo wasn't bad. There's no combat in it. You're just picking up items, picking up keys, and of course, spoiler, whatever. Because it's the maiden demo. You're not gonna live. I mean, obviously, you get slaughtered completely at the end of it. Because why wouldn't you? Like in horrific fashion, but
Well, but that's a lot like the 7 demo.
exactly. And we talked about 7, where 7 was
I love
really,
7. I played through 7 like 3 times so far.
I see why you did. I enjoyed 7 a lot. I just felt like once you left the house, it just kind of.
It does go downhill. Yeah, once
Yeah.
you're out of the initial house, it is a
like,
slog, kind of a slog at points.
It is.
And also playing that game in VR was vomit inducing.
No, I tried it when it came out in VR and PS, and I tried it for like maybe like 10 minutes and went. I don't think I made it into the house. I said, nope, I'm not doing this. So I would say Resident Evil 8 Village, whatever. That's what I'm looking most forward to. Even though it's not, I felt like they wanted people to think of RE4, but it's more like an RE7, which is not terrible. I also don't care about Ethan. I know Ethan is supposed to be you.
Oh,
Ethan
your character from 7. Yeah, it took me a second. Like
he talks, but nobody cares about Ethan. The fact that one of the collector's editions comes with a statue of Chris Redfield, to me, is very telling of like, why not make a game where you are Chris Redfield again?
I mean, the last game they did that was Resident Evil 6, so maybe they don't want
I mean,
to do
7 had the free DLC where you were Chris Redfield rescuing your fellow soldiers.
Really? I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I went through it as soon as I beat the main game. It's fine, but I don't care about Ethan.
Gotcha.
Just don't. I don't. They haven't given me a reason to.
Ethan, the only reason to care about Ethan is because he's magical. When he gets an arm sliced off, he just needs to rub some.
Just pour some stuff on it and just touch it.
Yeah, it's fine. So, and I understand that, like, because of whatever Las Plagas and whatnot was going on there, that's why he could do it and whatever. So, Mike, you want to do your list?
Sure, I can do that. I have a 7 down to 1 countdown. But I'll also just throw in a quick little honorable mention of Double Dragon Neon was re-released this year on a new platform.
True.
Which I did not play. It's a Switch. I have not played the Switch version, but the report is it is identical to the 360 and PS3 version. of the game, which means no online, and that is a big disappointment. So I guess that is a separate category, but otherwise, I still love the game. It's great. So my number 7 game is Mafia 2 Definitive Edition.
Okay.
And when that was when the whole trilogy was announced, and when they more or less was like, hey, and by the way, if you own 2 on PC, you get the definitive edition right now. Here you go, which is not just all the DLC, which I will say going into it, it's like, yeah, the DLC is just, it's amusing for a few minutes, but it's like way too much crap, like stuff that I'm like, this, no. I think they tried to supplement the fact that the game is pretty linear. The main game is pretty linear and not terribly long. And they're like, yeah, and the DLC is almost as long as the main game, but you're doing the same thing again and again and again and again. Like, no, I don't want any of that. But they did improve the visuals a lot. The textures for most of the characters are significantly improved. When I say that, I mean there are a few insignificant to the story non-player characters that are like, oh, you didn't touch that up at all. So that stands out. But it's still a good game. Some of the things that they kind of tweaked helped a little bit. It looks a lot better. And again, this is the kind of stuff that I dig, which is take a game, a good game, and make it better and make it more playable / more playable on modern stuff.
That's what you want.
So it's out on modern consoles, whereas the console version was 360 PS3, but I played it on PC.
Gotcha.
My number 6 would be Mario 35, which a lot of people were kind of lukewarm on, but I had a lot of fun with that game. I played it night after night for well over a month, and it is a battle royale of sorts of Mario 1, and it is not perfect, but I thought it was not just a lot of fun, but pretty well put together, and the fact that it was free for the online users meant that it was accessible to anybody that would be like, if it was free across the board, you'd still need to pay for the online to be able to play it anyway. So it's like anybody who's going to be able to be playing Switch Online has access to this. Lots of people are playing. There's never been a shortage of matches, people to make up a match. So it's populated. People are into it. It's good. And I've gotten close. I've won. I did win a game, but it was like, I don't know. It was just dumb luck. It had nothing to do with anything I did. But I've enjoyed it a lot, and I hope that Nintendo does more stuff like this. If they do a Zelda 35 in 2021, and it's interesting, that would be very, very cool. I'm interested in any of these.
35. I mean, whatever.
What's that?
Urban Champion 35.
35.
Urban Champion. I don't know. But whatever they do, I mean, anything that just they're like, hey, it's included in your subscription.
Yeah,
I'll at least check it out. Sure. But I enjoyed this more than Tetris 99. A lot of people are more interested in that, but I just don't. I've said before, that's not the kind of Tetris that I want to play. But this was fun. Next up on the list, number 5, Call of Duty Warzone, which I have not played a whole lot recently, but when it came out, I was very excited about it. I thought it was a lot more of the style of battle royale that I'm into, which mostly means no building anything, and it's competitive with very good console controls. Again, when PUBG came out on Xbox, I thought they tried to cram the entire PC game into the Xbox controller, and that was a terrible move. Call of Duty works great on a console controller, and it translates pretty well when you just turn that into a battle royale instead of saying, I want to be able to do all of the things that all of the keyboard functions can do on a controller. So it was pretty smart. It was good. The map is big. So had a lot of fun with it, but that's why it's not closer to the top. Number 4, Neon Abyss, which is a game that I probably never would have even taken a look at except for the Game Pass Quest. And once I did, I realized that this game is a ton of fun. And I say that from the perspective of somebody who's not played a whole lot of these run-based 2D roguelike type of games. I'm sure there's probably better out there, but this being a twin stick shooter style one, so you're shooting guns instead of like stabbing things or shooting arrows or whatever. It was a somewhat unique experience for me, and I found some of the items that you can pick up make the runs, depending on which run you get, which items you get, whatever. It can be just exhilarating, or it can be a slog. It kind of just depends on the random nature of what you get or choices that you make. I mean, it could be I used a key to open this chest and there was nothing good in it, and therefore I didn't have a key to open this door, and there could have been something awesome behind that. So, you have to make the call. But yeah, it's like there's just so many weapons, so many pickups, so many things that can alter. It's like just fundamental ability to move around the screen. Like you can get a double jump or a triple jump, or you can just fly and float. And it's not like it's a cooldown. No, you can just float anywhere you want on the screen at any time. And
it hurts when you lose it though, doesn't it? You're just like,
that can be great. Well, yeah, and then you'll either die or, like, if you finish a boss for the first time, like the farthest you've gotten, your run is done no matter what. So, it is set up to play again and get something different the next time. So I've not finished it, but I've gotten pretty far. I think I only have 1 or 2. It was like 2 weeks ago was the last time I played, but I forget. There's either 1 or 2 bosses that I know of that I have left, but then there's all these other crazy stuff that this other stuff in the game that, like in the setup part, that it's like, what is that? I don't know what that's going to be. The thing about the statue, or like I can ride the elevator now, but there isn't a whole lot there. So I don't know how much is going to get unlocked after all the bosses. But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Number 3, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
I saw you playing that the other night.
This I put too many. I think the Switch, I mean, it doesn't tell you exactly, but it said 35 hours or more, which puts it at, if memory serves, either fourth or maybe 5th on my list of Switch games in total, like in order of hours played. Breath of the Wild is number 1 though, and obviously this is related to that. It's not the same game, it's not even close. But if you like the story that they gave you in Breath of the Wild, this is the story of the 100 years before that, and it is a Musou game, so Dynasty Warriors, whatever. When Dynasty Warriors came out at the launch of the PlayStation 2, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I loved the music. I liked not just playing the game and, it's not, very complex combos or anything, but I enjoyed what it had to offer there. And I didn't mind playing the Yellow Turban Rebellion again and again, because it kept, leveling up my characters, and there was a bunch of characters to unlock and everything. So when Dynasty Warriors 3 came out, I was like, oh, I'm going to love this. And I got it, and I was like, I don't want to do this again, because it's kind of the same thing. So I have not played a lot of Musou games over the years, but I did enjoy Ken's Rage a lot, and that gave me a really good appreciation for the Fist of the North Star series, because I had only ever seen the movie, not the series, and I was like, I don't know the whole story. So I got a lot out of that. Haven't touched like any Musou games since that one. So I'm not burnt out on the concept of beating the snot out of thousands of people or creatures in this case.
7 in one stroke.
Yeah. I mean, it's
17, 70, I don't know.
It's easily, you can finish one combo and 50 not moblins. What are the little ones called? They're
If
not
you said
goblins.
moblins, I would have been
It's
like,
like-
Moblins are the really tall ones.
Oh.
Right, it's like Go Goblins or something like that.
Whatever the
It's-
little like peon type characters are. But yeah, like you can just destroy.
that's
I'll put it this way.
one for your list. I gotta say that's good.
For the first, I'm gonna say about 15 to 20 hours, I was loving this game. It was just a lot of fun, lots of stuff I was unlocking. And then the last like third of the game, it was like there's just too much. At one point, I finished a mission and it unlocked, and I did not count because if I knew it was going to be this nuts, I would have. But my best guess is 24 new missions unlocked when I finished one of them.
24.
I was like, when is this ever going to stop? I didn't want to do all the extra.
That's like a way to disincentivize me from playing.
Like it is a time commitment thing, and not in a, oh yeah, it'll.
No, I'm good.
The big problem is it felt like I was on the verge of finishing it for the last 15 hours of the game.
That doesn't sound like fun.
It got to a point where I was really close to just stripping it off the list completely. But then I kind of finally figured out in the last few hours, it's like, yeah, I kind of screwed myself because I tried to keep everybody at the same level so I could use any character at any time. Don't do that. I'm telling you right now, anybody who's interested in this game, pick 2 characters. Obviously, Link, you have to keep Link like super high because you're going to use him more than anybody. But
Gotcha.
Pick one other character that you're going to use as a companion a lot. There are scenarios where you're going to have to use X, Y, or Z character. But the thing that it doesn't really allude to, and is the big thing, is like just abandon a lot of them, because in the later stages of the game, they're going to give you new characters that are super high level to begin with, and they're better than any of the characters that you had access to earlier, and you're going to wind up finishing the game with them. So don't waste money on upgrading weapons or training or anything for half the characters, because that will cripple your ability to focus on the characters that you need to, and it's going to waste a dozen hours. And I don't think I'm even exaggerating there. Like, you can shave of the 35 or so hours I put into the game. If you know exactly what you need to do, you can cut 12 of those hours right off. But I didn't know, and I screwed myself over. So,
But you're
because I thought, I'll see everything the game has to offer. Don't do that.
You played more of the game. That's
Yeah. I played too much of the game.
I'm not even going to play it at all because of your advice. Thank you, Mike.
But in the end, that was my 3rd favorite game of the year.
I was gonna say, from all that discussion,
It balanced out. I still enjoyed it.
I didn't see that
Gotcha.
coming. I didn't see Mario 35. That's good. I like
Also,
being surprised. This is good.
I will never play that game again.
Okay.
I did it. I saw it. I'm good.
would you like to play the first one? Because I think I still have it unopened for the Switch.
Oh, Hyrule Warriors Definitive.
Definitive Edition? Yeah.
I have it for the
I have the Wii U copy.
and the 3DS.
Oh, the 3DS copy's bad.
I have the 3DS version. Yeah.
Once it's like, if this is anywhere near as long, there's not a chance.
Gotcha.
I played like one level of it on the Wii U, so yeah.
Okay.
But it's not story connected. It's just, hey, Zelda characters that are also beating up thousands of people.
Well, but like, so, and I watched some Call Me Johnny stuff on this on Age of Calamity, and like, this is somewhat related to it, but like, it's a divergent timeline.
Oh yes,
like it's Back to the Future.
This is
Who's Biff?
This is not going to sound good, but this is the Terminator Genesis version of the storyline of
We can just stop right here.
Breath of the Wild.
can
It's
just
like,
stop right
oh,
here.
what if something happened and messed up the timeline? And I use Genesis more so than Back to the Future because there are 2 endings to this game. Neither one of them leads into Breath of the Wild. They're both oh, this happened, so Breath of the Wild didn't actually happen at all.
Well, right. I mean, but that's the same with Back to the Future. He never gets back to his original timeline. Like, there's no way for him to ever go back.
Right.
Is the argument I'll make.
But the timeline you're referring to is the very beginning of the first Back to the Future, the unappealing timeline.
Right.
Breath of the Wild is a tremendous game, and any scenario where they erase it, that's why I say Terminator Genesis, because Terminator Genesis erases Terminator 2, what is most people's favorite Terminator movie. So That's where it's like, why did you choose to do this?
Wait a minute,
I would have much preferred, story-wise, if they had a scenario where you, like, even if they called it the bad ending, because, you know, anybody who's played Breath of the Wild, you know, what happened 100 years ago was not a happy time.
Right.
This is a, what if they succeeded? I wish it was, they didn't succeed. That's how it normally ends. But if you do a lot of special stuff, you can unlock an ending where they did succeed, and then, you know, they didn't have to wait 100 years to finally beat Calamity Ganon.
Well, they had to wait 100 years, and then I had to go take a bunch of pictures and find a bunch of seeds.
Right. Yeah. So they crammed some of that. But anyway, that was my game. Number 2, Astro's Playroom on the PS5.
That looks so cool.
You know what?
Is a free, quote unquote, if you can find a PS5 game. But it was a very good 3D platformer that did not wear out its welcome in any way, and it highlighted all of the things, all of the promise to come for the PS5 system, and more importantly, the DualSense controller.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I played on the PS5. That is a good one.
Did you know Aaron got a PS5, by the way?
I just learned.
Okay, I'm like, he said it, and like I thought I missed something. And okay,
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we did a show, so I guess it's not that crazy.
I got a PS6 too.
Oh,
think about it.
Well, my uncle works for Joe Sony, and he's got a PS9.
Joe Sony. Michael Sorny.
Sorny, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's good because like if this was a 20-hour game, I would have gotten bored with it. Even if I finished it, I would have been like, it's just too much. A lot like kind of what I was saying about Hyrule Warriors. It's like at some point you can just go, that was fun. I'm done with that now, and not have it drag on forever. This game does not drag on at all. And it's the second platinum trophy I've ever gotten. And it was not terribly difficult. There were like 3 things that I had to look up because I had no idea. I don't remember what they were exactly, but I was even able to get all of the time trial stuff done without as much difficulty as I thought it was going to be. It's just fun. It looks great. It plays really well. It sounds awesome. You know, it makes me wish there was more games like that.
Yeah, it's weird going to anything else because I picked up Sackboy and I'm like, Sackboy is fun. I love platformers, but yeah, but nothing does it like Astrobot though. I mean, just even when you're walking on like glass or like metal, just a little ding ding, like there's everything. It's just, the attention to detail is insane in that game.
It is
it's good.
Fantastic tech demo that is also a fantastic game.
Yep. Did you play any of the Astrobot for PSVR?
Not as much as I'd like, but yeah, a couple of levels, and I did enjoy it. And it was actually on my list the year it came out, mostly because I thought I would continue to play it, and I sort of anticipated that I would enjoy it as much as I did for what I did play, and then I never touched it again because I haven't hooked the PSVR up. And I don't really. Every time I think about doing it, I start thinking about, well, what if I start feeling ill? The whole day is going to be shot. Like I can't even risk this.
I've made that mistake. I played some racing games on PSVR, and the day pretty much ended.
Yeah, I don't so, like. The risk reward it's just not there for me. So,
but Astrobot, yeah, it'd be in a perfect world, a lot of things would happen. It would be nice if because you can play PSVR games on a PS5, it'd be great. And using a DualSense, you can use a DualSense to play PS4 games, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
on your PS5.
Yeah, I played Bloodborne. I don't know why, but it'd be great if they updated.
Oh, because it's part of the collection.
I started Bloodborne. Right.
Again, because I bought it when it came out like a moron, knowing I'm not going to play it. But it'd be great if they updated the PSVR Astrobot game.
Astrobot, yeah.
To use the DualSense. That will be
Well, they kind of can't, though. You can use the DualSense, but you can't take advantage of any of its specific features because, for whatever reason, Sony's locked out. PS5 native software cannot use the VR, which is why you have to run the PS4 version of Hitman 3 to be able to run it in VR.
Yeah.
It's like, that says to me right there that this is just a dead thing. They're cutting it off like it's like a Kinect.
There was some statement that seemed like to have a glimmer of hope, like, yeah, we're gonna return for having a new version. I'm doubtful.
Sure,
but
I mean, we'll
I'd
see,
like to be surprised.
At this point,
I'd be shocked if they cut it off. Like,
I kind of don't care whether I ever get that adapter cable to be able to plug my PSVR in the camera into the PS5, because I'm like, if I ever use the VR again, I'll just hook it right up to the PS4 in another room or something. I don't know. Like, I don't care.
Gotcha.
Way down the list. Anyway, speaking of lists, my final game, number 1, is Mafia Definitive Edition, the remake of the original game.
Finishing it off.
And as I mentioned multiple times while I was playing it, to me, this is, I wish every old game that I owned in my entire catalog, going back to the Atari, if there was a way of saying, hey, I want to play that game, but I want to play it as if it was made today and it was good. and this does it in a way that it made me smile. Even when it was grim and stuff, it was just like, I just love the attention to detail they put into this. Like, the facial expressions, the lip syncing was phenomenal. Like, just the visuals of the character, like everything. It just makes me long for Mafia 4 more than I wanted, even after finishing Mafia 3, which was, the one that got me introduced to this series. And I still think is overall probably more enjoyable to me than Mafia 1 as a game. But this looks so much better than Mafia 3 does now. And I know that because I went back and played Mafia 3, quote unquote, Definitive Edition, because that was also something that I got because of owning it. And it doesn't look any better than it did before. It's actually nothing different at all. It's exactly the same game. They just said, well, the DLC is included, which is good DLC, but they didn't change anything. And playing that game on the PC and playing Mafia 1 on the PC, the Definitive Edition, Mafia looks so much better than Mafia 3 now. And that was not the case when Mafia 3 came out. So, anyway, I loved it. And it sounds like Hangar 13 is moving away from Mafia at this point, but one can always hold out hope, I suppose. And in another 5 or 10 years or whatever, maybe there'll be another one. But it was great. And it again, did not overstay its welcome at all. It was nice and tight and told its story, and you played through it. And that was it. There was no, tacked on multiplayer or unwanted DLC, as I mentioned before with Mafia 2. Put Mafia 2 on here because I still enjoyed the upgrades on that enough and was reminded that is still a really good game. And Mafia 3 Definitive would definitely still be on my list for this year if they did anything of significance to that game to improve it. But it is the same game. They did nothing. So it is no different. That game is not a true re-release in 2020. It's just an old game. Still a good game, but it's not new.
It was released this generation. So like
this, well,
the active generation that was when it was released. Like
correct. Yes. It's not ancient, but it's, True, right? Because Mafia 2 was the previous, but whatever. Mafia 2 on PC probably, for the most part, looks better than Mafia 3 on the PC now.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's my list. I talked probably too long. Didn't mean to go on so long.
That was fine. Now you have to make a choice. Do you want to do the disappointment category or the wild card category?
I'll do the wild card thing, and like you had mentioned before, it's a good point. I'll call it like the favorite gaming related thing of 2020 that I did, I guess, is what I'll call it. The mostly completion of that arcade cabinet that I've got. As I put it together, it's not done, and I'll be tinkering with it for probably years to come. But I think it's great, and it's a lot of fun, even though they're not arcade perfect because it's still emulation and there's some hiccups here and there with certain games, whatever. It's really fun every time somebody mentions some weird obscure arcade game, and I'm like, oh, I think I have the ability to play that, and I look it up. Oh my goodness, there it is, and I can go play Arabian Fight. Yeah, that is a weird game, but sure, I can imagine that looked awesome when that came out. And I mean, I lived through that era, so I can still look at it and go, wow, yeah, for what they had to work with, that was a really interesting way of handling that sprite scaling. Not an awesome game, but totally cool to take a look at it. I'd never seen that game before it was announced for the Sega Astro City. The little miniature arcade machine that only released in Japan. And I was going to buy it. And then I thought, you know what? That's more money than I want to spend on a thing that I'm really not going to use. And I have the ability to play every game that's on it right now. Not legally, but, whatever.
Understood.
So that's my pick.
Gotcha. Aaron, what about you for the wild card?
My favorite gaming adjacent or gaming thing. Cheat engine.
I will accept that.
Cheat engine.
I'm not shocked by it.
Cheat engine came in so clutch this year. When you just want to enjoy a game without worry about, you just want to experience it. You want to play a Resident Evil game and not really worry about that zombie.
When you want to play a game and not worry about ethereal intent. I could say that word.
We all believe in you. Yeah. So when you want to play with RE7, actually I own RE7 on PlayStation for PS4, but it's on Game Pass, or it was. So I just downloaded it from the Windows the Windows Store, loaded it up through on Cheat Engine, and I can just experience the game and not have to worry about winning and losing. You just go.
It's the game genie of today.
Exactly. Which is why it's like, as excited as I am for some games on console, I'm like, there's no cheat engine on console. Cheat engine is fantastic, man. Let me tell you.
But it all, to me, it really all depends on the game itself. And if I am 90% interested in the story and 10% interested in the game, I'll just, defer to YouTube at some point, because
I've done that.
I can get just as much out of that, depending on the game, as I can from playing through it by way of infinite lives or health or whatever. Like today, I don't really want to play Dragon's Lair, but I'll watch it like it's a cartoon movie. Sure.
It's quick though. I mean, you can beat it.
Sure, that's why I'll do it, because it's
it's 20 minutes of
you watch through the whole thing. You go, hey, that looked great. Glad I didn't have to suffer through that.
Well, cool. And I guess I'll finish off. I have listed. I entered the VR realm this year, and so the game I played probably the most with people. We did Bridge Crew, like the GameEnthus and Friends people did Star Trek Bridge Crew for the early part of the year.
And when you did that online, you played that in VR?
I did.
Yeah, he did. We didn't, okay. But he did.
I'm sorry I missed out on all these.
Justin might have
sounded fun.
VR.
Okay.
I know Ben did, but I think Justin might have too. Anyway, it was great in VR. Like, it's awesome. Like, you're on except for, so we did have one problem. This was with the DLC, and I kind of feel like maybe they put out that DLC and then said, "Hey, we're done," because no one bought this. We kept playing on the next generation bridge, and then all the textures would disappear, and it would just be a white void. But we'd still keep taking damage. So,
Captain, somebody removed the walls of the ship.
And this happened multiple times. So, again, it was still a great time. We played through that whole game. We did the Kobayashi Maru. I had a ton of fun with that game, and it was probably one of my favorite VR things this year, but it can't count in my top 10 because it didn't come out this year. So, but everything okay? There you go. I was gonna say everything okay, Aaron.
Everything.
Gotcha. So I will do my top 9 games because that's what I have. And I'll start this off with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I really enjoyed that release this year. So much so that when I gave it to my nephew, I went and bought myself a second copy of that game because I wasn't going to wait for him to give it back. Mm-hmm. So, like, that game worked, like, after the train wreck that is Tony Hawk 5. That game is a real return to form, and I really enjoyed trying to go back and some of the changes they made by bringing moves forward from Tony Hawk 3 and 4, and the graphical fidelity on the levels. It's been great. I've been enjoying the heck out of it when I play it. It's been one that I wish more people were playing it, because I would just want to do better on the leaderboards. But it's Tony Hawk. So, and maybe they'll come out with a Switch version. Right now, it's only on PS4, PC, and Xbox. So, my next one is Maneater, which is right now available on PlayStation. This game came out like April timeframe. I played on the Xbox One. I 100%ed this game because you get to be a shark in a Grand Theft Auto open world, and not only do you mutate your shark into like one of 3 forms, like armored shark, electric shark, or stealth shark.
Street sharks.
You also, at one point you fight essentially an orca, like out of a SeaWorld kind of thing. There's the whole game is based in a reality series, a TV reality series, narrated by Chris Parnell. And you're just it's about like shark hunters, and this shark hunter kills your mom, but you bite off his one arm, and later you come back for his other arm. You should play it. It's like I said, it's free on PS5 right now if you have PlayStation Plus. So yeah, you should pick it up. Otherwise, Maneater on Xbox was also I played it through all of my Xbox.
Is the song in the game? I guess is the question.
Oh,
I believe
the Hall & Oates song.
I believe it, but it was a surprise game because it looked kind of fugly during previews or whatnot, and playing it, and again, you start as a baby shark in a grotto or whatnot, and
Hall & Oates, as
you eat a bunch of other stuff, you grow, and you should. It is a game to check out. This next one, I think Mike might groan at, but I had a lot of fun with it in VR, as well as my parents really were good at spinning, and that's Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh yeah,
I played through that whole game on VR and enjoyed the heck out of it. On the PlayStation Plus, or Pro, I think it hopefully the frame rate's a little better. But I also brought it over to my parents' house, and they tried it out. And like I said, they're very good at spinning. But
they didn't get dizzy or anything.
They didn't get not to throw up sense or anything. I'm we limited time and whatnot. I knew.
So you brought it over knowing your parents had VR legs that were good enough.
Well, so I have brought
to
VR games over
in space.
Well, I brought it. They had been watching The Mandalorian and whatnot, so they were interested in Star Wars. So like, oh, here, play this. I've brought the VR over before. We played not Keep Talking, No One Explodes. What's the James Bond ripoff one?
Ooh. I forget, but I watched you play that at an Extra Life.
Like it's
I can't think.
You think you could die or something along those lines. So, and like they played through that to the point where my mom forgot she was in VR and fell off the chair she was sitting in. Because she tried to reach for the door in the car that you were in. So I mean, Star Wars Squadrons, if you haven't checked it out yet, I think it's down like $20 or whatever. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It had a fun story. They mentioned characters from Rebels and from other Star Wars series.
Oh, is that right?
That's where like Captain Syndulla comes from. She's the Twi'lek that is in charge essentially over all of your group.
I was hoping you were going to say Captain Sawada from the Street Fighter, the game, the movie of the game of the movie.
No, but yeah, she's from Rebels. She's the lead, or she's the lead pilot. Anyway, so yeah, you should check that out. Deliver Us the Moon is my next game, and this is I played it on Xbox. It came out on Xbox and PC or PlayStation 4 this year, and it came out on PC last year. It's a game about we get energy from helium-3 from the moon, but suddenly everything's gone dark, and now it's 6 years later, and you're launching like the last possible way to fix this, and you have to find out the story of what happened on the space station and then what happened on the moon base that was beaming energy back to Earth. And like it's definitely a walking simulator. There's a lot to that.
Those can be okay. I'm okay with it.
It was good. Like I really enjoyed it. Like there are discussions about like, hey, what's going on, and about like ecosystem collapse. So like there's a part where the people that are up on the moon are like, well, maybe we should hoard this energy and like go like leave and just screw everyone back there. Like there's no hope to save that place, and like there's stuff you have to go through and like make decisions about in there that are real interesting. And I guess this is like the games that were tough to play but also kind of good, because my next one is The Last of Us Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very good game. It is not a game I enjoyed playing as much, like, because it's a game about revenge, and there are at least 3 times where I thought that game was done, and it was not. And it's just a parable about like how revenge, like if you're going to seek vengeance, be prepared to dig 2 graves kind of idea. Because it's just like you have Ellie and what happens that causes Ellie to go after hers, and then you play as another character that was her enemy, but like you understand why she's doing it, and it relates back to the first game, and then you switch back to Ellie 5 years later, and like she has anyway, there's a lot of stuff. It's a beautiful game. Like I said, it's a beautiful game. It's a good game. Like it should be recognized as a good game. There are parts in that game where I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like a good person. I could stop at any time, but I didn't and finished it and then gave it to Aaron.
That you did.
So yeah. So
I kind of stopped at the once the dogs came out. I was kind of like, oh, I got to get past those dogs.
There is some anyway. Like the real answer is don't ever love anyone in that game, because it's just never gonna end well.
Duly noted.
But to finish off this and this is a late arriver to this game because it came out in September, but I got it for Christmas. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is a Vanillaware game. It is a mixture of 2D side-scrolling kind of walking simulator and then a tactical RPG with giant mechs.
Do those things go together?
They go together super well in this confusing. You think it might be time travel, but maybe it's not time travel because, like,
it's a pacifist first-person shooter. What?
You play as you start off as a kid in the modern day, and you suddenly have a headache, and suddenly a giant mech appears, and you're in it and naked for some reason, but that's not really an important part of the story.
Is that why Hard Rocking Guy wants to play it? Is that why
they mention it several times? Like, why am I suddenly naked in this mech? Anyway, and like people don't freak out about giant robots suddenly. And you're defending the city because these mecha kaiju, they call them kaiju, but they're really robots. So like not traditionally what I would see as kaiju. But anyway, they're coming to attack this beacon, and you have to, there's a spaceship underneath your city, and that's what you're protecting to stop them from getting there, because if they get there, potentially will kill all humanity. But there's so much more in the story to unlock because you're switching between time frames. There's a time frame at World War II, there's a modern one, there's a future one, and you're trying to figure out how everything's related, and you play through the perspective of 13 different people. As someone who very much enjoyed the Danganronpa games, there is definitely a part of that in these games, where you're playing as a group of teenagers that have to like accomplish a mission and whatnot. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. I was super glad to get it and played. That's all I played over the Christmas holiday. So that's that's number 4 for me. The last 3 games probably aren't going to be a surprise to pretty much anyone. But number 3 was Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS4. That game's more great Spider-Man, but with Miles Morales, he got his Venom powers in there, as well as like his ability to go invisible. And it's only like a 12-hour game as compared to the 40 or 50-hour game that was Spider-Man. So like the more condensed story that it's telling, you don't have to. Oh, you never had to, but you don't have to go find 100 backpacks, and then just have a lame reason that apparently Peter Parker won a backpack contest, and that's why he could have 100 backpacks around.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah,
he won it from Norman Osborn. He won it in an unlimited supply of backpacks. There is, you definitely find that in Spider-Man. But anyway, Miles Morales. It tells a story that is different from like Spider. So if people are familiar with Miles from Into the Spider-Verse, like this is a different version of Miles, just like it was a different version of Peter for Spider-Man 2 years ago. But like I think it really works well. It continues the story, and it kind of shows that Peter Parker is not a great person because he just leaves. Like the whole reason Miles isn't like the only Spider-Man in New York is because Peter's off with Mary Jane at Sokovia or whatever. So
it's a hot vacation spot, Sokovia.
Yeah, well, they're trying. It's not Sokovia. It's the other. It's wherever Silver Sable comes from. I'm trying to remember the name of the country right now. But yeah. So Miles Morales was one to check out. Funny enough, also a game I sent to Aaron. So I look forward to hearing you because like you go up against the Tinkerer. But they also introduce Roxxon into this game, and Roxxon is Marvel's evil corporation. Like that's in the 80s. That's who like exploded.
Like, gotta have an evil corporation, otherwise, what are you doing with your life?
So I mean, like that's where like Deathlock comes from. Deadlock. Like the half robot, half usually like soldier or anyway.
He had a phone built into his hand.
He did. So number 2 was Among Us. I mean, we've talked about Among Us a lot. That game blew up. I played some ridiculous amount of time of it across PC and mobile. I enjoy every time, and I especially enjoy when I'm the imposter. Even if I have hoisted myself on my own petard, like I did when I was playing with Mike and Rob and whatnot.
Hello, fellow.
Hello, fellow teens.
Fixers
and
of.
You don't say it, then.
See, I've changed, Aaron. I've changed. Like it's very different now. Maybe I say it, maybe I don't. Who knows? So that's Among Us. I like if I need to explain it to you, I don't know. Go look at top games on Twitch. And then the last game, which my Switch tells me I have had running for 540 hours this year.
That's a lot of hours.
Is Animal Crossing New Horizon.
I don't believe it.
I played so much of that game during the first half of this year. I've gone back to it, like, to check in and whatnot. That game came out at the right time. Like,
yeah, it did.
It came out, mid-April? Or no, mid-March. Came out mid-March. And that was all. Like, if I was not working, it was something to do while we were dealing with everything else that was going on in the world. And it was like we could visit each other's islands. I was talking to people, and like I had this fun with other Animal Crossings in the past. Like a bunch of people on my Twitter, I only know because hey, we will go visit each other's Animal Crossing and like, hey, what are turnip prices and all that stuff. But it was just the game that needed to come out, and the new additions they added, like terraforming, and that you start on an island. You're not immediately moving into a Tom Nook house, and like you kind of plan out your whole island setup and whatnot. It was good, and even with the weird things like, oh, you can only have one island per Switch and all that stuff. Like I didn't have those problems because I live alone. So,
well, yeah, I'm sure the majority of players are.
I know a lot of people that bought another Switch because
that seems
or a Switch.
That seems like a decision you can make.
It's a thing,
not me,
but
someone.
It's a short-sighted problem that Nintendo created for a significant number of people.
Yes, so because if you're the second player, for example, you can't do any of the public works projects. Like there's a lot. Like you have almost no power in that world. All you can do is wreck your partner's stuff, and that's generally not going to work out well, especially when you're not allowed to leave your house. So I mean, yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizons is great. I continue to check it out. As Wolfkin's talking about, he's talking about Gary Whitta's show, for example, in Animal Crossing. Oh my God, Tanya had Stacey Abrams on, and they were playing Animal Crossing while they were talking about getting out the vote for Georgia in December. There's been so many, like, I've seen, yes, they did. I've seen so many ways of people using this game to help interact and how to change. So it was definitely the better game that came out in mid-March, at least in my opinion. So, and that's my list.
Compared to Doom Eternal?
Well, so we're going to talk about biggest disappointments, and I'll start off.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Let me just pull that rug out from under.
No, I mean, so the last category we have is
where it was.
The last category we have
I'll
is
slide the rug under your feet without you stepping.
Well, I'm jumping.
I like that.
Is biggest gaming related disappointments, because there are a lot of other disappointments to talk about, but that's fine. But gaming related, Doom Eternal is probably my biggest disappointment in regards to games this year. Like, I've tried to play that. I bought that game on PC. I downloaded it on Game Pass. I do not like that game. I don't like that you're constantly scrounging for ammo, and I understand that's the gameplay loop they want to go with. It's just not the gameplay loop I'm looking for. Like, you just feel weak, and that's not what the Doomslayer or Doom
is supposed to feel like.
Like, Doom is like, I should be moving at 90 miles per hour, and I can kill everything. And I understand people would find that boring if they redid Doom 2016. But I really like Doom 2016. So, that disappointed me. I mean, Animal Crossing came out at the same time, and I've tried to go back to it, and it's just not a game I'm enjoying. So, but yeah, Aaron, what about you, sir?
There's a game called Tamarin that came out on PS4. I think it's on PC as well. And it was sort of trading off of like, hey, some of the people who were at Rare who made Jet Force Gemini are making this game. Now, I didn't find that out until like the game was almost out. So other people, I guess, knew that. And they sent me a code for it, and I was very excited because it looks so good. Oh man, it's a weird thing. Like you start off like little furry tamarin thing jumping around collecting little crap, and then it like really started to feel like Jet Force Gemini, which
really not the best rare game.
No.
But does it have the weird restrictions Jet Force Gemini had, where it was like, if you don't save all the MacGuffins or whatever,
all the little furry villagers, yeah,
right? Like if you kill one of them by accident, you might as well restart the level because you done messed up.
Yeah, they made some weird design decisions, and it's funny. It really felt like, okay, more regular platformer, and then like 45 minutes in, I was like, what is this? It felt like Jeff. I'm like, like Jet Force Gemini. Like if you took that game and like modernized it, okay, I guess it could be okay, but like. That's not fun in 2020. So that was a big disappointment. And then I guess this one is more, maybe it's me, but I was very excited about Ghost Runner. And
you just put a video up about, or did I imagine, or you put a video up? Maybe?
Yeah, I think I did it a while ago.
Maybe it came through my feed. I'm like, I saw it recently.
It's not that Ghost Runner is a bad game. Like part of it is me, I guess, but it's just too hard. It's just some parts of that game, like you have to have like your reflexes have to be like superhuman, and it's just like it's not fun. Like I like what they did. I like the game. I like what they did. Just some sections are so difficult. It just breaks it. It's like, oh, I can't make any progress in this thing because I can't press this button as fast as you want me to. So I guess you don't want me to see the rest of your game.
We are in our 40s, sir.
Yep, that too. Yep, that too. Well, okay, 2 of the 3 of us are in our 40s.
I was gonna say, I got years. Multiple years.
I was speaking as myself and to the one I was addressing when I say we.
I got anyway. Yeah, I understand. No, I mean, hey, like that's frustrating. Like, and I'm sure there's someone that's like, I'm sure if you would put that on Twitter, be like, just get good. And like that's dumb. But I guess my question is going to be, could you use cheat engine with it?
Oh.
Well, I'm playing on Xbox. I don't have it on PC.
Okay.
Also, I don't know how that would help you really. Cheat engine, you like unless the cheat is like make every jump. Like I don't know what that is. Like,
slow down time.
Jump out of the environment. Like I don't know if that's a solution to the problem.
I mean, I'm just thinking
no clip.
Like, you could do no clip, but like, kind of like how Gradius 3, now you can play Gradius 3 with the slowdown or without the slowdown, and those are 2 very different games.
Yes, they are.
So, like, maybe if you had the ability to slow down, like, suddenly tack out your processor so that you could plan your moves better because the game literally can't process it yet.
Like Super Hot.
Exactly. So, yeah, essentially,
that game.
The cheat should just be Super Hot. So, Hard Rock guy, I assume that you are reminiscing about your 40s.
Or doing the opposite, in which like, you guys are that old? Like, yes.
But okay, so I'm sorry, I interrupted. Was there more you wanted?
No, you were responding to the chat. That's hey.
Mike, was there anything you would like to mention? I know you.
For disappointment, I'll just say the Polymega again, not releasing. How's that?
No, understood. Like, hey, that is a legitimate point. And we will see what happens. But I think you're probably spot on that it's not coming out next month.
And just related to that, I follow a number of Polymega things and the Intellivision Amiico stuff. And Intellivision communicates with their fans, and Play Magi, or however they pronounce their weird name, they don't. They have no interest in listening to people say, you guys are lame for not putting out this product that you said was in production 2 years ago.
Right, but the production stopped because of, why does Walmart hate us?
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Are we talking about the Amiico?
No,
I'm putting them two together because what somebody in one of the groups pointed out pretty it seemed pretty valid to me is that Tommy Tallarico was like, listen, here are the reasons why we cannot mass produce this thing right now. And Play Magi with the Polymega is just like, yeah, it's coming. Like, how are you theoretically magically making these units that are under the same restrictions as every other situation in China, where they are not able to mass produce for this company, but somehow they're going to do that for you, even though you have not indicated that they've started yet.
Isn't the other issue with the Amiico that like they just now hired somebody to like, I don't know, work on an operating system?
Well, Intellivision's got
those.
its own problems, and again, as time goes on, I become less and less interested in things that seem outdated and lame.
Well, what's weird is like it has those controllers. I guess it comes with one or two of them, but then you can just use an app for like other. It's like, well, if I can use an app, why am I bothering to?
Aren't those controllers just essentially phones? Like that's what they're just like.
But don't they have like a single tactile wheel button thingy?
I believe they do.
Do they? I thought that was on this. I didn't realize that was tactile.
I mean, maybe it's just a touch sensitive circle. I don't even know.
I thought they were just essentially candy bar phones. Like, hey, we found a bunch of sidekicks.
Recycled Nokias.
We found a bunch of sidekicks and like just put them in. It's fine.
Hey, I can type on my game controller because the keyboard just fell out of the bottom of it.
So, but yeah, I mean, hey, well, 2021 has a lot of challenges, and we will see what happens with them. I will say this, and I just thought about this game, and I'll mention it. I don't know if it really would have made my top 10, but it'll fill my 10 spot. Kill It with Fire was a lot of fun. I played that game, and I think Aaron.
Yes, it was. I need to stream that game. That game is.
We should.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Like,
because there's always another spider.
It's just like Arachnophobia, the first person shooter, but it's a dumb fun game.
And you think you're done, and like you knock over a shelf, and like all these other spiders come out.
Then explosive spiders come out, and you're like, what the hell is going on? So anyway, yes, Kill It with Fire was a lot of fun. But with that, I mean, that's GameEnthus's Game of the Year 2020.
Yeah,
and I mean, we'll put these lists up on the website, and Aaron will have this up as an audio podcast. I hope.
Of course
I don't know. I don't know if XSplit agreed with him on that. So that's more what I'm saying.
Here's hoping.
But hopefully this also means we'll start doing some more regular shows. I know we have guests lined up for some shows, so
we have guests lined up for the next 2 weeks. So
we
should.
So I mean, hey, we'll be back, but just realize we're all doing this for fun. So sometimes there will be breaks as other stuff is prioritized.
Sometimes intentional, sometimes not. But yeah, if you are listening to this and you want to communicate with us, you can always go to GameEnthus.com, and all of our Twitter information is up there. You can also email us at podcast@GameEnthus.com, or Tiny415@GameEnthus.com, or Saltsuit@GameEnthus.com, or Aaron at GameEnthus. I'm saying a lot of GameEnthus.com. You can also leave us a voicemail at 202-573-7686. And shout out to folks like Robbie1051 and Keon and somebody's name who's, I'm sorry, escaped me right now, who asked like, hey, where's the show? That means you care. We appreciate that. And people say, hey, you haven't done a show in a while. Where's the show?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, like Justin
like that.
and
that's good.
BC and everyone were asking like, feels like you haven't done a show in 2 months. Like,
these things happen.
Well, I mean, we did Extra Life, and then like we went into the holiday season, and like that always like kind of messes up the schedule. And
even though
happens.
I mean, I really didn't go anywhere. There were a lot of Zoom calls, and it's a lot of, even though you're home, you still get busy.
And it is exhausting to be on like conference calls. Like you have to be on.
You do.
So
you do.
So yeah,
you have to put on those presentable pretend shirts or something.
I mean, I could always have the program overlay a shirt.
I believe those are called Dickies, Mike. They're called Dickies.
You can have Zoom put a fake shirt on you.
I mean,
that's going to an extreme that I didn't even know existed.
I mean, I'm sure we could figure it out. But
there's always a technological way of getting around doing
that. Feels like it actually might be $1 million idea. I think we need to develop this. Like, he just overlays a shirt
on showering just to do Zoom calls. Like that.
Oh no, it was a green shirt. You could actually see my naked body.
Is that the same shirt? You're like,
no. So anyway, but yeah, did you say the phone number? I already forgot.
You mean 202-573-7686? Yes,
yes, that number. So yeah, we love getting voicemails. So that's the show. As you can already see, we've already started the Extra Life team for this year.
Yep.
So you can go to GameEnthus.com/extralife to check that out. Sign up, come join us, play some games. I'll try to get something. I mean, I'll probably do something in April, like a mini marathon in April. And we should play some Kill It With Fire because that game was wonderful.
That game was crazy fun.
It's a multiplayer game?
It is not, but
no.
That's fine.
Yeah,
it's more just like watch and have fun watching someone play it.
Because it'll startle you sometime where just you think you're okay, and then all of a sudden it is
I'll end this with I've watched a lot of good stuff on streaming lately. I've listened to Aaron and watched Kim's Convenience. Which was very good.
That's video? That's not the podcast thing?
What's that?
I don't know. Never mind. I don't know anything about.
There's 4 seasons. It's
Dunder
4
Mifflin.
seasons.
It's a show.
Sitcom about a Korean Canadian family running a convenience store and.
I thought that was all right. Never mind. I thought that was the Office related thing you guys were talking about.
Nope.
I don't know why.
No.
And the other one I'll recommend is Lupin. I watched Lupin today on Netflix. The only thing that will take you out of it, though, is that him and his son at one point are playing a multiplayer version of Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that does not have multiplayer in it.
Awesome. Did they then go over and play the arcade version of Doom 2?
Honestly, would have made more sense because it's like they show the screen and it's just someone had playing as Aloy taking out one of the robot dinosaurs, but he's like, sick headshot. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Are you playing as the robot dinosaur?
The only thing that could be better is if it had Atari Pac-Man.
And
like
sound in the background.
That would be perfect.
Well, that's what. So again, weirdly, I'll bring up Kim's Convenience again. There are several times they show video games like in the corner, like someone's playing, but most of the time it's been real video games like Gears of War or Apex Legends. But then there's one where they show a full-on screen, like they show the screen, and it's a vertical split first-person shooter for some reason. And like the Hulk is on the screen. I didn't understand why, and I was like, "This is some fake-ass like mobile game." But again, I don't even understand why you'd have a vertical split for your first-person shooter. Like, why does that make sense?
Personal choice.
So
for games that allowed the choice.
Anyway, video games and TV shows, something I will continue to complain about into 2021. But anyway.
As is your prerogative.
I mean, yeah. Or we could talk about WandaVision and I could tell you all my crazy theories. But anyway, we should get out of here.
We'll talk about WandaVision more next week.
Yeah. Hopefully this week they're going to maybe show some stuff that'll be very important based off of the IMDb listings I looked at. So,
see, that's the cheat engine of watching streaming videos.
Well, I was
that guy's voice is right.
I was trying to figure out something, and then I went and looked, and it said, "Oh, like this actor starts showing up is in this show for 7 episodes." I'm like, "Sweet, okay, I know who that is. Let's do this." But anyway. Again, you know what? I'll say this. I think WandaVision episode 1 and 2 were just to reset their powers because in the movies, neither of those characters' powers act like they do in the comic books. Like Wanda's just a telepath and a telekinetic in the movies. Like she picks up big robots. And, and she makes Tony Stark like forget things or see illusions. Like she never changes reality. She throws energy bolts. She ensorces Tony. She picks up the big wheel and she flies, which again can all just be explained either by telepathy or telekinesis. So, but in this, she's like literally changing the world around her at points in the show. So anyway, so like I think these first 2 episodes are literally just. It's also the same as like Vision doesn't really phase through a whole lot of stuff in the movies before he dies, and like the first episode they have him pulling something out of something. So anyway, yeah, WandaVision. So let's get out of here before I keep talking. So
all right, Wolfkin, High Rock and God, appreciate you guys being in the chat.
Yes, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, until next week. Wear a mask. Consider others.
And then after that, continue to wear a mask because this isn't going to be over in 7 days.
Over your nose. Like if the mask is below your nose, the mask is pointless.
Yep.
Yeah. That includes you, Bill Clinton.
So.
All right. We're out of here.